Hey there, everyone. Mike Mibach with KTVU FOX 2 in the San Francisco Bay Area, talking money, finances during this pandemic, once again with Winnie Sun, Managing Director of Sun Group Wealth Partners. Hope you had a good weekend, Winnie.
You too, Mike. It's been
Yeah, it
good.
was good. It was good. A 49er loss, but other than that, it was okay.
Ah,
Taxes, taxes, taxes. Let's start with this. People don't like to pay taxes. And I want to ask you this week, third quarter taxes for business owners, right? So recommendations for this specific group of individuals who do have to pay these taxes here.
yes, it's a big group of individuals. So tomorrow is the day, September 15th. For those of you who are waiting to the last minute, this is your chance to pay your taxes. And the most important thing is, of course, you want to make sure you pay them. But I would say you might want to consider those of you who have the resources to pay the taxes, maybe look at actually using one of your travel credit cards to pay your taxes this quarter. A lot of my clients actually didn't even think about this, but if you're going to have to go through the pay anyway, you might as well look to get some sort of benefit from it.
Yeah, I remember at least when I was in college back in the day, I don't know if they can do it anymore, but I had some friends of mine who had parents who would just pay the tuition via the credit card just to get all the benefits of travel cards. All right, also this week, I didn't know this was happening, but it's the last FOMC meeting, the Federal Open Market Committee meeting before the election. Is it a big deal? What do you expect from this, Winnie, here?
Well, it's interesting. It's going to be tomorrow and Wednesday, and so all Irish are sort of watching this meeting. Well, our expectations is that nothing huge is going to be announced during this meeting. It's kind of going to be a continuation from the last meeting. As you know, the Fed Chairman Jerome Powell had said very clearly that given that we are not through the pandemic, and he actually expects post-virus that the economy will come back slower than expected, and so therefore interest rates are probably going to be staying pretty close to zero for the near future. So not too much news on here. We don't expect anything too big, but certainly something to watch in the next couple of days.
Okay, when I spoke to you last, senators were returning to Washington, D.C. To conduct their business. House of Representatives are now back after their recess. Still no deal. Even today, I was reading up on some articles that says they may not have a stimulus relief package before the election in November. Are you hearing kind of some of the same chatter out there?
Absolutely, Mike. It's so crazy because Americans are struggling so much financially, and yet our politicians can't come up with even a sort of decision to issue the next stimulus check if there is one. It's very unfortunate. It almost feels like we're not going to get one. I've been hearing more and more financial analysts say, don't even say that there's going to be another round because at this point, there's a good chance there won't be another round of stimulus checks.
So saying that, who do you think is hurt most by this? I mean, obviously people who still aren't working.
Mhm.
Maybe there are some individuals who are working but have had their pay cut. They're facing evictions. I'm not sure how long that's going to go on for, on this relief when it comes to rent.
That's so true, Mike. So absolutely, people who are not yet back to work yet, and we've been told that the second sort of round of coronavirus is going to get really bad this fall and winter, as well as the flu coming in at the same time. So it's almost like a perfect storm. So people who are not back at work yet are continuing to struggle. In fact, we're seeing record numbers of people going and taking and tapping their retirement assets, their 401ks, their IRAs, and just to make ends meet. And you hear about something like the payroll tax holiday that was just announced. That's additional ways of really not getting money to where the people that need it most, because really everything is sort of the perfect storm, if you will, is actually January of 2021. Everything comes due. Student loans, you've got eviction payments, like everything.
Um, my branch, not that I go into it a lot, but every now and then I go into my bank branch, but it's been closed this entire time. And now there's talk about banks going into post offices. You kind of do a double take on that, but what's the story about banks and post offices, Winnie?
So the story is that, the U.S. Postal Service is looking for additional ways of income streams. And the banking industry is an area that they're very interested. There's really serious talk about perhaps bringing in banking into your local post office. And they're saying that the reason why they would want to do this is since there's post offices in all neighborhoods, this would bring banking abilities to certain markets or maybe lower income communities that don't usually have a banking relationship. I will tell you, I thought this was such an interesting thing, Mike. I'm sure you've thought this as well in the past few years. We've seen how efficient Amazon is with their deliveries, and U.S. Postal Service doesn't seem to be able to touch Prime. So I feel like the U.S. Postal Service should really focus on the business on hand and get really good at what they do, which is to improve their delivery of mail and those services before moving into a whole nother sector that does require more customer service.
That's interesting. Lump sum or monthly benefit. I'm talking about people who maybe are debating retirement and maybe they do retire and they get a pension. What's the best? I mean, I'm years from this, but for people who are thinking about it, is it better to get the lump sum right now or take that monthly payment?
So that's a big question. It's actually been trending a lot on social media of like, if I'm going to take my pension, should I do it in a lump sum or should I do it on a monthly basis? Now, typically when an employee goes through transition, maybe they're retiring, or in this case, a lot of people are just being laid off or, completely and being offered a package. So if you're offered that package, you want to take a look at that. It's not a clear-cut answer. I would definitely suggest meeting with a financial professional to discuss this, but a couple things to keep in mind. The lump sum obviously gives you the ability to take that entire sum. You could probably roll it into an IRA rollover to keep some tax benefits, and you can control the payments that come out of this, Now, but the pension is great for people who don't have maybe a financial advisor relationship, don't want to worry about it, and you just want to make sure that that check continues for you for your lifetime. But sometimes if you're married, you might have or you might not have the election to cover 2 lives, both you and your spouse, but generally it doesn't cover your children. So whenever, if let's say you still have younger children or other needs, sometimes it's better to consider both options and make sure that the decision is best for you and your family. So very, very customized and personalized advice there.
What if I win the state lotto? Lump sum or do I take the monthly payment? What's your recommendation?
Well, Mike, I know, I'll tell you one thing. If you win the lotto, and I've had a client do this, if you win the lotto, Mike, you got to call me because we will discuss this in detail, but I have a feeling we're going to, actually, I can't tell you right now.
Okay. I'm leaning towards lump sum.
I welcome that day, Mike. I welcome the day.
I do too. Every Wednesday and Saturday, I just cross my fingers. Okay, so let's wrap it on this. I like asking you, your biggest financial tip or lesson of the week. What do you want to throw out there on this week?
Okay, this is actually a really easy one, something that all of you can relate to. I'm going to tell you one thing that I found. And so those of you who are shopping for groceries right now, this one's a super easy one. Instead of going to supermarkets, which, can be a little chaotic, things maybe they're not in stock, whatever, it can stress you out. I'm going to tell you, I'm a really big believer in ordering your groceries on the app or online ahead of time and then just doing curbside pickup for financial reasons, because this way you can compare that to your refrigerator before you head out. You can make sure you get things that are on sale. You don't have like impulse buying. It's a great way to save on your budget right now. Do the curbside pickup, really big game changer for your financial means.
I see it at my market. I haven't done it yet, but I like the advice and I'm going to take it. All right, Winnie Sun, Managing Director at Sun Group Wealth Partners. Winnie, have a great week.
You too. Take care, Mike.
All right.